Well, here we are. What is it, a day after our anniversary?
2 days.
J&T Marital Arts Podcast.
I'm just liking
Whoa, that was like a clink. Let's do it again. A little bit more chink in there.
Yeah, that was different. I'm...
A little more ching-ching.
I'll have to get back to liking our congratulations on our anniversary later.
Oh, you're looking at Facebook?
Well, if you can look at Facebook during a meeting, I could at least start our podcast looking at Facebook. Oh, no, it was Instagram. So good morning. It's J&T Marital Arts Podcast.
It is. High five.
Ooh.
Smack.
We're old school.
That's
High
right.
five.
That's right. High five, low five. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got to check up on my Instagram girls. I got to see what's going on in the make money for bouncing around world, you know.
The Graham Jam. Is that it?
That's pretty good.
You like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can get you to laugh, I know it's a pretty good one.
It sounds like
the other day.
That sounds like grandma aerobics, Graham Jam.
Graham Jam. You really enjoyed the other day when you were massaging me. I'll just imagine it was massaging. I'm like, you know what? I wish my whole body was made of boobs. And then I'd get a full body massage.
Oh no.
So I know that
yes, that was
struck
funny.
your funny bone.
That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can use my imagination in order to struggle through a full body massage for you.
Yeah.
I can.
Well, you're so fortunate. Your hands are huge. And so, you know, like if I'm massaging you, it takes me like 5 times more effort at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, strength too.
That's why you have to do it 5 times more often.
Well, 5 times longer at
Right.
least.
That's what
I know to get the equivalent.
Yeah.
So.
To one boob massage.
Right. You got it so easy. Men really do have it easier. They can massage their women with one hand.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Yeah, that makes everything
Equal. Yep.
Because we have it so easy in the massage realm.
In the massage realm, I mean, that's what matters, right?
Well, I do believe that you should pay attention to your woman more than just her bits and chunks and pieces and
No, it would be more like buttons and levers and, you know, that you're so good at pushing too.
Well, you know, sometimes they need to be pushed.
Okay, I'm going to go there.
What?
Let's see. So one of the funniest things to me is so I have this, it's your cycle tracking thermometer.
For that women stuff?
Yeah, for that women's stuff. Apparently in other countries
the way that you guys have an advantage that you get a month off or a week off every month.
Yeah, I wish. But what was so hilarious though is because it's a thermometer with a big round end. And it has a little computer chip, and you know it's a little computer device that you sync with your phone and keep track of your cycles and all that kind of stuff.
And it only has one button.
And it has one button.
But it's a multi-function button.
But it is a multi-function button. And
I don't think anybody knows where this joke is going.
You have to know Morse code to operate this thing, and it's a great device.
If you want to open up the features of the device, you have to press it multiple times.
Yes.
That's the joke.
So that's the joke.
Yes.
And so if I'm taking my temperature, John's like, what do you say? It's like, are you operating your single button
Well, they
device?
made it. Yeah, they made it. What my joke was is they made it perfect for a woman because women get a hold of the remotes for the TV. They're like, I don't know which button you press. There's so many buttons. What's this function? How do you get it back to this? How do you do that? And I'm like, yeah, stick to your period thermometer.
Just a single button.
One button. Press it multiple times and you'll get multiple functions.
So it actually is a great device, and you know once you just only need to know a couple codes essentially, but that was really funny.
Just like figuring out your woman.
I mean, so I think it's Swiss made.
There are lots of features and functions and buttons on you.
Yeah.
But you know,
But you love it. You love gadgets.
There's one main button that kind of gets
the
the
master
engine
button
started.
But you love gadgets and
I do.
and tinkering.
I do.
And figuring things out. So I'm perfectly made for you.
And I'm totally handsy.
Yes, you're very handsy. So it's just a.
My giant handsies.
And you're eating again on our podcast.
I'm eating on a podcast.
Another scone.
Hell yeah.
What flavor was that one?
That's the Ruby Roost scone. It's got some chocolate, coconut. It's got chocolate and I think butterscotch chips.
Oh, it has special.
Or they're vanilla chips. I haven't figured it out yet. I haven't asked because I like to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
So, and I haven't thought about it much, so I haven't figured it out. Until you just asked me.
So it's Ruby's Roost. You
But
have
I put a ton of butter on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a chicken that you call Big Roost.
Oh, yeah.
Our chickens are getting big enough where you can tell the males and females.
Yeah. They were doing chest bumping this morning.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of the males. Yeah, one of the Arcanas and Big Roost, yeah.
Well, the Arcanas are females.
I don't know. I think there might be one in there that's, we might have got a sneaker.
So
Rooster.
how close is the coop to being done?
Well, I didn't know we were discussing chores and tasks.
I don't know, just a quick update.
I got the electrical in yesterday, buried in the ground, and not inside. The cable is in the coop. I got the door out there. I didn't put it in because I'm gonna mark that up. Then we got probably shouldn't have put on that plywood before we put the insulation on.
Yeah, I was wondering. You know,
I'm sure.
you have your own plan. And then I think you put on the plywood on the other side of the wall. So you're not taking off the plywood, you're gonna have to cut into it.
Yeah, I'll cut through it. I'll just mark it and cut it.
So did you tell everybody about the neat chicken door you got?
Am I telling everybody? Oh,
Yeah.
I
Tell
gotta-
everybody
Okay, maybe a
wants to know.
future sponsor, although we're probably not going to buy another chicken door, but I'll do some advertising for them because their chicken door is good. It's from a company called Chicken Run. And it's an automated door, and you can set it to open up, like 20 minutes or an hour after sunrise, depending on how well your hens are laying in the morning, if they lay right away before they run outside. And so it's automated, so it senses light, natural light. Artificial light doesn't trigger it. So, and then it just automatically opens, and then 20 minutes after dusk, after sunset, it will close, or you can set it later or sooner.
Yeah, because you want to make sure everybody's inside, don't
Yeah,
you? Does it have an app function?
No,
Or is it
no,
just
but
a sensor?
we won't. It's got a button on it too, so you can. We'll be out there to make sure everything's closed up each night.
Yeah.
And you can hit the button and it'll close.
Well, we have that one shed that in the summertime, this direct sunlight won't reach that door, so it'll be delayed.
No, it'll pick up the light. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I want because it's now getting into the 30s, high of 30s during the day and lower at night.
Yeah,
And-
that's the weather report from Tarabacco.
Well, I'm just saying
J&T Marital Arts Podcast.
we got the chickens.
Taking the temperature of the outdoors.
Typically, you get chickens in the spring, right? We kind of did it the opposite way, but we wanted to make sure we would have chickens in case the shite hits the fan.
This is what happens
And-
when you let your wife talk about her period thermometer on your podcast.
On your podcast, it's our podcast.
Being recorded on my phone,
Yes.
and I do all the tech.
Okay, fine. What do you want to talk about?
I named it.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, technically,
And you're my wife.
that older lady
Let's get into a little bit of ownership here. Let's tweak some people.
Yeah, well, you're my
You're my
husband.
wife.
You're my husband.
Yeah, congratulations.
I know, right?
See, women always trying to be equal, not making the situation more advantageous, just trying to be equal. You're my wife. Well, you're my husband.
You instigated it, John.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but notice how I responded. I congratulated you.
You did
You had
have a
to try
very
and-
clever response.
You had to try and step up to my level, and I congratulated you.
So I want to thank you for recently.
So I
You've
won.
been good for you.
Thank you.
You're so
I got
that's
a
such
trophy.
a winner.
I have a trophy for you.
Yes, I know.
Looks like a number one.
Yes, so eager to share.
Mm-hmm.
You have been very helpful to me lately. I have been striving to not think
It took me 21 years.
or well,
To be
you
helpful.
know, it also is love language kind of stuff, where a person can truly try to be helpful to another person, but if you're not speaking their love language, it just isn't noticed as much. And I think there's a certain point where I don't think acts of service is really a primary love language of mine, but like I think for anyone, wherever you're kind of struggling a bit, to get some help is
But
nice.
you do notice if I do, maybe you don't notice one thing or two things, but if I'm on three or four, then you're like, oh, thank you for doing that.
I might
and
not
I think that's just gratitude. I don't think that's a love language per se of yours, but I think anybody realizes. I mean, if you make dinner, I say, great dinner, thank you. That was good. And
Well,
even if it had some green stuff in it,
it is easy to overlook. You can be so busy and non-attentive.
Yeah, and I might have gotten offended when we were first married because I was 21 years younger then.
What did you get offended about?
I
Perhaps.
can't even remember. It was 21 years ago.
Well,
We've been together just each other for 21 years.
Yes, 20.
21.
Already over half my life.
Yeah. So, some people don't live past the age of 21.
Way to go, John. That was a weird comment.
Well, it's true.
It's true, but
Sorry.
not very many.
Huh? You want me to get the statistics?
No.
How many people die before they turn 21? I can do that.
No. So this is a quickie podcast this morning. We're already at 11 minutes. So
Oh, what are we going to 20? 21?
30 most.
30 at the most? Okay.
Yeah. I got things to do today. I got a class today, but I'm not going to go off on my
Your schedule?
My
Can you give us
schedule.
your itinerary for today?
The weather is
For
done.
the-
We got a little snow last night, but that's it. That's all you're going to get.
Okay.
So, topic.
Are you asking for a topic?
Do you have a topic in mind?
Well, I always have a topic. Where
Yeah.
what we're doing right now is just sharing with people how we interact. We'd be interacting, other than acknowledging other people,
Yeah.
we would be interacting the same way, a little bit more similar, or we might even be a little more harsh. We might be saying things because today is the day of self-censoring. We try not to self-censor because we don't want to go into topics that we have to censor, right?
Yeah.
And we talk mostly about our marriage, and we joke like we joke. I mean, I might joke a little more vulgarly if we're alone, but I think people get the gist, that we have a very entertaining marriage, primarily because of me, because you're German. So,
I'm just so boring.
well, you're very structured. The structure of a joke, if you're making a joke, if you're making a comment, if you're trying to be witty, the structure kind of has to go out the window, and you have to have an innate understanding of what's funny or what's funny about what the thing you're saying
I wish
is.
my body was made of boobs.
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
Yes,
see?
yes.
So, I mean, I can get outside
And
of
now
the
if we
German
both
box.
get our wish, you're just
Yeah.
going to be a bunch of boobs. Because I wish that too.
We'll have to maybe tweak that wish a little bit.
That's why you don't get what you wish for.
Yeah, immediately, right?
That's
Yeah.
why The Genie in the Bottle is such a spectacular movie or a fantasy or a book or whatever,
Yeah. Fable, maybe?
Right. That's why people don't understand the power of abracadabra. They don't understand the mathematical structure in that word, and it's spelt the same both ways, and some words like that are sacred vocabulary, like sacred geometry, because they're sacred geometric in their math and in their structure, and most people cannot have, like my paper, excellent intention. Most people cannot have what they wish for because they would destroy their lives and the lives around them. And because people are very selfish, like you, selfishly wanting to be made of boobs.
Forgive me.
Well,
I just hope you
think
can.
you're at year 21. You're actually selfish for me because
Yeah.
there's a lot of synergy way more than ever. I see lots of people have been married for many years, and their they have synergy in moments, and they don't develop it. You and me live very synergistically. We're very synchronized in how we do things, the way we live, how we act, interact, even when we're alone. It's
You mean not showing off for other people?
we're not putting on a show. No. I mean, a lot of people will think that. A lot of people will think, oh, wow, like everyone else, they're just acting the way they act because
We
they're
like
around
performing for each other, I think. We like entertaining each other.
people. 100%.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. So maybe the topic of this podcast is synergism or synergy or being syncopatic or
Syncopatico?
syncopatico or synchronistic.
Yeah.
And I think synchronicity is a thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to. They think happenstance. They don't pay attention. They're too distracted these days. Like I said the other day to a friend, I said, he was telling me about a bunch of stuff, and I just stopped him in the middle of what he was saying, and I said, I didn't ask, are you meditating? I didn't suggest. I said, you have to. You have to meditate. 15 to 20 minutes a day. No questions asked, no matter what's going on, you have to. You can't keep going the way you are. And he knows how to meditate, and I taught him, and he's got other methods, I'm sure.
Oh, it's
I
so
taught him
easy.
several years ago.
There's so many resources.
But I can see the incongruency in people and the franticism,
Fragmentation.
fragmentation. I mean, you name it. I can see it, and I'm just like, okay, I'm done asking. I'm done just suggesting to people, hey, do you work out? Have you, you've got to do squats. You've got to do, some sort of push-up. You've got to do, big muscle group stuff. You got to do back work. You got to do core work. You just have to. You can't allow yourself to fall apart.
Well, even just another credit to you, because I just love filling your credit token bank.
Well, the topic of this podcast must be that. Then.
Yeah, I'll write that down.
All right.
So
you look
back
like
in the day,
one big boob to me. I probably have to massage every part of you.
Yeah, awesome.
You're just looking more boobalicious.
So years ago, you had given me a workout routine to tone. It was the big muscle groups, just to set a foundation.
Well, when we first met, because of how we met, you were a student of mine in the martial arts school.
Right.
So
It wasn't right when we got married, and you're like, okay, now you got to shape up.
No, you asked me before we dated. You asked me how you can shape up. You said you wanted to be more toned.
And you're like, winner.
Yeah, winner, chicken dinner. I can help you with that.
Yeah.
And it won't take long. How long did it take?
I went down 2 sizes in a month and a half. Also changing my diet.
2 pant sizes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I prescribed diet for you and exercise for you and anaerobic martial art workouts and.
Well, so that's what I wanted
2 sizes in 3 months.
Particularly give you credit for, these days in recent history, the high intensity interval training is like the craze. Like you have to do this. But that workout routine you gave me was that.
Yeah.
It was a workout, an anaerobic weightlifting routine, and I got the cardio and the interval training. You were way ahead of your time.
You know why that is? It's because people that actually work out know that.
Oh.
people that I was working out 6 to 8 hours a day during that time because I was teaching classes and training and lifting and doing everything I was doing every day. And I had rest days, of course, but and I was still mountain biking and racing motocross and doing different things that I did. I still was doing lots of stuff. And so I understood and still do, how to get into shape, how to stay in shape, how to help people.
Yeah.
And I just watch, and you couldn't do much because you weren't very coordinated, but we got your structure good. We got your supporting muscle. If you think about the amount of kicks I had you do, you were building stabilizer muscles. That's the only reason it's hard, because your stabilizer muscles go because you don't have good
And certain flexibility. I mean, to kick, you need to have a certain range of flexibility and strength at the same time.
Then the more you kick, the more your tendons and ligaments warm up in your muscles, the farther they stretch. The higher you can kick, the harder you can kick, and then you realize, wow, I feel really good when I'm doing that. And then you naturally stretch out. Everybody has a basic stretching routine that they've learned somewhere, even if it was in high school gym class, before they ran on the track or something.
Yeah.
So.
So back to synchronicity. Around that time too, when I met you at your school, you had, so this podcast is not just for married people. It might be for people who are dating and are in a serious relationship.
People that want to get married at some point.
Right. But you also...
Whether you're straight, gay, or anything, there's principles.
As long as you're dealing with a human, I think this will apply.
You're dealing with somebody you love, somebody you care about, somebody you want a long-lasting relationship with. Absolutely. So
when we met, you were off of relationships. You had essentially given up on trying to find the one, and your grandma had given you advice. And I think this is, I'll have you share a bit the story, but I think this is an interesting twist to synchronicity, because sometimes you can be pushing so hard for something and you can be looking in the wrong places or just throwing off the energy, where like the energy drills we do in martial arts, you can't, I mean, you do apply pressure, but you have to follow it as well.
Well, here we go.
So synchronizing.
So my advice to anybody that's in a relationship where they're having a struggle, you have to go to somebody. You have to go to somebody that you trust, okay? My parents never said anything. My parents, if I had asked them, they probably would not have given me the straight up honest truth, right? Because they're too close, right? It's difficult for parents to say something, because then if the person doesn't heed the warning or the advice, then that person becomes the enemy. And the person that gave the advice becomes the enemy to the person that won't heed the advice. So you got to be careful. But if I had the wisdom that I have now, I would have gone to my grandma and asked her, because she was around quite a bit and she had seen my last relationship before you. And after that relationship ended, my grandma just said it one day. We were sitting in my parents' porch talking, and she just said, that one was a bad one, and she was bad for you. And at that point I was like, oh yeah, don't I know? And she was very, very somber, very, very calm about it, just very straightforward. And that's all that was said about the last one. She didn't bring up anything she did. She didn't bring up any nasty statements she had made to the women in my family, which had happened. And she just said that. And then she said, the right one will come to you. You have to be patient. And she saw that, I was a single father with sole custody of my son, and I was looking for, I grew up, my parents are still married after 52 years, 50 years, right? 50?
Probably 54 coming up
54,
next month.
Yeah, because I'm 52, so
yeah
54. And I saw my parents as perfect, because they never fought in front of me and my brother. They never drank. They didn't drink alcohol. I seen like a wine cooler once in a while, but it's like we didn't have, the only alcohol in the house was, there was cooking brandy my mom had. There was some cooking wine and cooking brandy. So, and that's what it said on the label. It didn't say, it wasn't E&J, it wasn't like, oh yeah, you can drink this or cook with it. It was specifically the wines that are thicker, they're probably already reduced, I don't know, I don't use those. I use standard wines for, I use wines I like when I cook. Yeah. So it's something I could drink while I'm cooking. And they didn't smoke. They didn't go out and party. There wasn't girls' night out and guys' night out. Their friends they had that were friends together. They had couples as friends. So I saw all this, and there was always thoughtful discussion. So if me and my brother wanted something, or individually we wanted something, we'd ask my parents. And if I'd ask my mom, she'd always say, I need to talk to your dad. And vice versa. They were a team. They were a team to make sure that they raised me and my brother correctly, you know? And so they were literally a team opposed to me and my brother, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how you raise kids correctly. You oppose their desires and needs thoughtfully, right? You have to say, and when you say I have to talk to your father, you're opposing the request right there. You know, you're stating that you want something and I'm going to do this with your father as a team. And then we're going to come back to you and we're going to give you our verdict. We're not catering to our kids. You know, we're not going to cater everything and give them everything they want. And it's not, my mom was never trying to be our friend over my dad. You know, there was not that you see in so many relationships. One parent will try and get the children on their side, which is a mental illness, because what in the hell would you want a child on your side for? You know, as an adult, you know.
And I would say that probably in the majority of those cases, it's not necessarily conscious. It's just that was
it's mentally ill. It's team building, which is team building against
ally
somebody.
building.
Yeah, ally building.
Not even team.
It's part of borderline personality. It's a mental illness. And you can see it in people because some people will not even go talk to anybody unless they have somebody else come with them. You know, because it's that whole CYA thing, you know, and cover your ass thing, you know, and have somebody there because they don't have enough belief or they need somebody to bolster their argument. So
Not that this isn't a good point, but
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it because especially since we're on a quickie, we're at 26 minutes. Synchronicity. When your grandma said that,
Yeah.
how easy was it to make the shift? Was it?
I was already there. I mean, I had already, so it's very important for me to have a relationship, but to have a good relationship. I had a couple of girlfriends that I had good relationships with that we were more like friends. It's when I was younger, maybe 16, 17 years old, you know, when it's not, for me back then, it's always at some point for guys, it's about possession, right? It's about, this is my girlfriend, you know, and at some point in a guy's life, he goes into that kind of, you know, defensive barbarian mode where he's just watching everything, you know, and he's like,
Turns into the rooster.
yeah, he's protecting his girl, and he realizes that once a guy realizes that most guys don't care if the woman you're married to is married. Most guys don't care. They're opportunistic. You kind of go through that mode. You know, I went through that, and then I started, instead of being possessive or jealous or seeing other guys, single individual guys that wanted to go out with my date or partner or whoever, significant other, I started looking at the environment, at the world, you know, and that's when I found out about, you know, sex trafficking, child trafficking, all that kind of stuff. And I thought, okay, there's something bigger here that to be defended against than just the next guy that says hi to my girlfriend or wife or whatever, you know. So I was at the point where I said to myself, I'm not going to have another relationship unless it's somebody that I'm going to marry. It's somebody that I would want to live my life with, not just looking for an example for my son of me being married, having a wife, and having a mother type example in my life, you know, for him. So
Do you think it also, because you were 30 at that time.
I was 30 years old, yeah.
Do you think it also took time you had to go through those relationships and know what you didn't want to then be able to better define what you did want?
Well, you know, guys think they have to be turned on physically by a woman. Like, if you don't get a tingle when you look at a woman, that's not someone you're attracted to. But that's not true. I mean, that's the extreme, right? What I learned a long time ago is, so you've gone fast on motorcycles you've had that stomach flip, that tickle, right? That like, you know, that kind of thing. Well, that's what guys get in their junk when they see a woman that is like bam, like so far beyond like that you question if you would even try to talk to her. Like that's the model. That's the the magazine cover girl. That's or the centerfold girl, whatever it is. Most young people won't know what a centerfold is. That's terrible too. Everybody needs to know that. So it's that high horsepower, high octane, high performance, high speed person that turns you on. Just like adrenaline junkies, they need to go fast. They want to jump out of planes. They want to go off of cliffs. They want to, they want to do all this stuff to get that rush again. Well, if you do that, your life is never going to be good. You're going to be defocused. You're going to be focused on the wrong thing, and you're not going to have peace as a guy, because that you had that feeling, and every other guy has that feeling, and now you're caught in that defensive barbarian mode, and that rooster mode.
The animal self.
Not that you don't want to care where your wife is, not that you don't want to care who they're talking to or anything like that, but me and you became friends before. We were friends in a sense that because you were distributing flyers for my martial arts school. Back then, that's what we did. We went to bookstores and we dropped flyers in the magazines, and we went and we put them at coffee shops, at the grocery stores. We put them up everywhere. We did demos in the park. There was no internet you couldn't advertise per se on the internet and get live advertisement like social media.
A bulletin board was actually a cork bulletin board. Some coffee shops still have them. So
well, and in that time frame, I had a bulletin board on my website, but getting people there was virtually impossible back then. Yeah. Because you would literally have to take out an advertisement in a magazine for your bulletin board on the web.
Yes.
There wasn't Google didn't exist at that time. It was I think it was AOL search or Yahoo search.
Yeah. And they were more rudimentary too, right?
Yeah, they were just indexes. I mean, there wasn't advertised. They were databases, So you literally had to search what you were looking for, and not just type in a word and it brought all these suggestions. There was no suggestions. Yeah. Let's say.
It depended on how well that person made the website also.
You couldn't find out what was trending. There was no, this is trending service. There was none of that stuff.
Or you also might or did you mean?
None of that.
You misspelled it, too bad.
None of that.
So
you had to, if you typed in martial arts had to be in the name of the school you were looking for. Yeah. If you typed in Chevrolet, Dodge did not come up as an option. So there was no linking or referencing. Ouch.
Ooh. So when I came into the school, you've kind of mentioned this before, but I think this is a really good point. You're essentially talking about evolving from kind of the animal self, the physical, carnal, I'm attracted, to wanting a higher level relationship. Now, the physical is important. We're physical beings. Yeah. But when I came into the school, or when you noticed me, I mean, you can be honest.
I will be honest.
What level were you attracted?
0.
Meh.
I wasn't being attracted to my students. That's something that, first of all, I was taught. That was something that was said, to me many times, even in my early Taekwondo training, when I started teaching, my instructor said, be careful around women. Be careful. They're going to say things to you, and you have to be careful. Yeah. Sorry, I got to turn on my do not disturb on my recording device.
John.
So.
Podcasting 101.
101, I know. So it was told to me early on. I already knew it. I mean, I was careful around.
Okay, so what if I had walked in the door with Farrah Fawcett in her prime?
You would have lost.
It wasn't a competition.
Big
just
time.
Saying.
You would have lost.
That teaching.
I would have said, thank you for bringing my dream girl in. Yeah. Now go away.
Bye.
Bye.
You can't hand out enough.
I would have used you for initial conversation. I would have been like, "Oh, hi, and your name is," and you would have said Tara, and I said, "Tara, nice to meet you."
Oh, it's Tara and Farrah.
Yes,
How
yes.
great.
And as soon as she introduced herself, or you said, "This is Farrah," I would say, "Oh, you guys are so clever."
So cute.
And I would have asked you some
like,
questions as to not be just fawning over Farrah.
Yes.
Yes, yes. You would have been the girl that I would have used as a stepping stone to get to Farrah, yes.
You're like, but my body's made of boobs, all boobs.
No, it wasn't yet. It wasn't. No. You had to mature into that.
Yeah, I wasn't clever enough then. I was too German.
No,
apparently.
and if Farrah came in and took a class, it would have been zilch. Mm-hmm. That would have been it. I mean, somebody like that walking in, and I don't mean to sound so excited, but it's interesting. You know, it's like
Farrah wants to do martial arts with me.
Yeah, no, it wasn't with me, but I didn't have that kind of ego. You know, very few people came in. Some people came in and said, "I found out that you were teaching here." Like they had seen me at a seminar, they had seen me, you know, at like how I met Dave.
Yeah.
You know, he had seen me at a Wisconsin camp for MKG for Minnesota Collie Group, and he was like, "I didn't dare talk to you," you know, because we were crazy. I mean, it was train all day, drink all night. Train all day, drink all night. I mean, it was.
Tie rounds in
and
the morning.
Rick tried to punish us, and we, you know, at some level we didn't care. We complained and moaned and groaned, but we didn't care. I mean, we were so good at it. It's like the old racers of the day, the old MotoGP guys. They would drink all night and then they'd race the MotoGP the next day. There wasn't this prepping down to the minute for the amount of stamina you need to have, and
then one guy
those guys
messed
were
it
just
up.
crazy.
One guy was sober and then was doing better, and then like crap.
You know what
and now
it is? You know what it is? Real money came into it.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I was part of the extreme sports before they were called extreme. We were called crazy. We were called daredevil. We were called adrenaline junkies, but because there was no money in it. Now they're consummate professionals that are multimillionaires because they do stupid shit on high-speed vehicles. You know.
Okay, so going back though, if there's a certain level of woman, still the rules, the guidance
Absolutely.
would go out.
Yes. I'm at that point in time, I may have. You know, I would adhere to my rule. If you date him, you have to marry him.
Yeah.
So then I would have ended up married to Farrah Fawcett and then divorced in a year probably.
She might not have appreciated your apartment and your cranky kitty.
Right. If she was at any level of status, that she was, she would have never even looked at me. I mean, you might think she would because you love me.
So it was your benefit that I was not that gorgeous.
So I'm not introducing you to Antonio Banderas. So
he's not.
I know. He would be like a guy I would look at and think like you think I think about Farrah Fawcett.
Well, I know, because I know you had the poster and that kind of stuff
every
too.
teenage boy did. I mean, good grief, she posed on motorcycles. My God.
And she didn't need boobs all over her body. She only needed her
in bikinis.
two. Yeah. Can you imagine? I mean, just being good enough having two.
Not have a boob body.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the last podcast anyone's going to listen to. They're going to be like, all right, we're done with these two.
Or it'll be the most popular.
I don't know. Well, if we put
boob body. I'll write that down. Boob body. Yes.
Body of boobs, yeah.
Hashtag.
The
hashtag. Boob.
Do you know what's trending today? Nobody knows why.
I think we've got our thing.
Yeah, but people will look for a picture. You know, they're not looking to listen to audio for an hour.
I don't know. Maybe someday they'll wonder if I'm actually all made of boobs.
Yeah.
Some cartoonists could do.
I think you are. I love to touch you.
Mm-hmm. I love the full body massages.
Right. So, yes, no, the rules would have adhered to anybody taking, and if you
like
had walked
level
in,
6 or 7
well,
and below?
if you had walked in when you walked in and you brought Farrah Fawcett in her prime and she was like, "Oh, John, I heard of you, blah, blah, blah." Right?
She doesn't talk like, she's more like, oh yes.
Yeah, she has that voice.
Kind of
oh, thank you.
Shall we go painting together?
Yeah, that's a coached voice. Her voice is a very attractive voice to men.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
We
don't
can-
don't keep doing
Okay.
it. That's not.
It's not attractive to you?
You're faking it.
It's too much.
No, I know what you sound like.
Yeah. Right.
I was.
My tough
you
voice.
made a funny voice this morning.
Did I?
Yes, and you said,
Yeah.
"Oh, now you're attracted to me because of the voice I made."
What was that today? I thought.
Yeah.
I thought
No,
it
I don't
was
want
the-
you to mimic it. I don't want to hear it. But
It's our secret.
I'm just
You gotta tell
saying
me
it
later.
happened, and I was like, "Oh, now I want to take you down."
You get a trophy for that one. Okay.
So
Well,
getting back to it, I know we're jumping all over here, but this is kind
yeah,
of fun.
we're at 40 minutes. This is more than a quickie
I
here.
know.
This is cuddle
I know.
time.
I would have I would have not dated her because of what I had gone through and where I was at.
Really?
Yes. I
Really?
would have, honestly. Yeah, I was done with looking for the spectacular turn on. I was done, with the fantasy kind of stuff that guys have in their head, the guys that think that they're going to go home with the stripper, those guys need just a wake up call. I mean, I've watched guys spend, lots and lots of money and go, "Hey, this girl likes me," and I'm like, dude, she likes you if you're sitting away from the bar, not putting any money on the table, and then she comes over, sits down, and talks to you because she's interested. That's how you can tell her. Not when you're throwing hundreds of dollars at her. She's gonna pay attention to you. That's what she's there for.
Totally.
Yeah. So no, I would have maintained my rules, and
So there's discipline, a high amount of discipline that came out.
I'm a martial artist.
Well,
Your entire life is discipline.
well, it is, except for in certain areas.
Like what?
Well, up to that point, you were,
Oh,
yeah,
well, I was disciplined. I was very disciplined when
regarding women.
I was trying to find a wife that could be a good mother.
So
That's-
you were disciplined, but you were training in the wrong area.
No, I had the wrong picker. I was very disciplined.
Wrong criteria.
My picker was off. My logical picker, I thought that I could only be with somebody that I was like, whoa, attracted to, like you said, bringing in Farrah Fawcett. And I went off on everything I said. That mentality of me at that time before I met you, just before I met you, a couple months before I met you, was still like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
this is somebody I should try and date.
Well, it's like you were shopping for a car and you got the fancy sports car.
Yeah, you get the
because it was a
Camaro
lot
that's
of
red
fun.
with the black stripes down the hood,
And
and then you
then
wonder why you get tickets all the time.
You get tickets. It doesn't do well in the winter, although you'd love it in the winter. You can't fit your family in the vehicle.
That's because you want to drive alone anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it does. How much of it does actually show you what's going on in your
Yeah,
subconscious.
guys that buy coupes don't want to bring the kids with.
Right. But if what you need is, like your sporty, four-wheel or four-door.
Okay,
vehicle.
let's stop on that. So the idea is that I would not have gone for Farrah Fawcett at that time, or Cheryl Tiegs, or Christy Brinkley, or anybody else that of that era when I was young that was the hot thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I had what I considered hot things, and I had gotten burned every time, and I had made the decision, and I was done, and that was like right before I opened my school. I made the decision because I was starting a new business venture, and I wanted to be successful.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was told to me. First was told to me, be careful around women. My first instructor didn't tell me, don't date your students, just said, be careful around women. My high level, Rick Fay, my highest level instructor, he said, don't date your students. And, if you do date them, you got to get married. You can't get that reputation. If you want a long-term career, and he told all of us that, And he's not one to tell you what to do. He's just saying, hey, be careful, because you get a bad reputation. And I taught that to my instructors, and
So that was on synchronicity, that sometimes to be more synchronistic, it does take an adjustment. You know, you're not pushing in a certain area. You may need to really, it's just like the energy drills in martial arts. You know, like you'll often tell me, relax, don't push, follow, flow. You need to have pressure, but you're not trying to push
Yeah, you need
necessarily.
springy pressure.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you need strength. You need the sensitivity to feel which way is the best direction.
I think that's a good point to end on. Otherwise, we're going to go into overtime.
All right. Well, there you go. That's it.
Have a great day.
What are we going to title this one?
I've got it.